packed my few belongings and slipped out during the breakfast rush. The next town over had a youth hostel that accepted walk-ins. I gave them a fake name and paid for 3 nights with my dwindling cash. The shared bathroom had a lock, and my bunk bed sat in a corner where I could watch the door. Better than the shelter's open dormitory. I found day labor at a warehouse, loading boxes for cash under the table. The work aggravated my stump, but I needed money. After my shift, I'd ice the swelling and count my earnings. $40 here, $60 there, slowly building enough for a real escape. 2 weeks into my warehouse job, I came back to find my bunk tossed. Someone had gone through my things. Nothing stolen, but everything felt wrong. The hostel manager claimed ignorance when I complained. That night, I noticed a car idling outside with its engine running. Not Dad's truck, but something felt off. I left through the back exit, abandoning most of my possessions. Only took what fit in my backpack. The car followed me for 3 blocks before I ducked into an all-night diner. I nursed coffee for hours, watching the parking lot. The car never reappeared, but my nerves were shot. Sleeping rough meant finding safe spots. Under bridges attracted too much attention from police. Abandoned buildings had other dangers. I settled on a storage unit facility with a broken fence. The security guard did rounds at predictable times, easy to avoid. I made a nest behind some units using cardboard and a tarp. My prosthetic started showing wear from constant use. The socket cracked where it met the pylon, making each step painful. I reinforced it with duct tape, but knew it wouldn't last. Without proper maintenance, I'd lose mobility again. The fear of that kept me awake most nights. I took a risk and called the shelter from a payphone, asking if anyone had come looking for me. The receptionist hesitated before admitting a man claiming to be my father had visited several times. He'd shown my photo around, offered money for information. She warned me to be careful and hung up. Moving constantly became my survival strategy. Never more than a few nights in one place. I found work where I could. Dishwashing, cleaning offices after hours, anything that paid cash. My prosthetic deteriorated daily, forcing me to wrap more tape around the cracks. One evening while washing dishes at a grimy restaurant, the owner mentioned his brother ran a prosthetics repair shop. My heart raced at the possibility. I worked extra shifts, saved every penny, and finally had enough for basic repairs. The shop was across town, a risk worth taking. The technician examined my leg without asking questions about its condition. He replaced the cracked socket and reinforced the pylon, warning it was a temporary fix. I paid in crumpled bills and left quickly, relief flooding through me at each painless step. That relief lasted exactly 1 day. I returned to my current squat, an abandoned retail space, to find Dad's truck parked outside. He sat in the driver's seat, watching the entrance. I backed away slowly, but he must have caught movement in his mirror. The door opened. I ran. Despite the repaired prosthetic, I couldn't match his speed. He gained ground quickly, his footsteps pounding behind me. I darted between buildings, through a park, across busy streets. My breath came in gasps, legs burning. He stayed close, relentless. A chain-link fence blocked my path. I started climbing, but he grabbed my prosthetic and yanked. The leg came free, sending me tumbling to the pavement. He stood over me, holding my mobility hostage once again. His face showed no emotion, just cold determination. He dragged me to his truck and threw me in the back. Cable ties secured my wrists to the door handle. We drove in silence for hours, leaving the city behind. I tested the restraints, but they held firm. Outside, familiar landmarks appeared. He was taking me home. The house looked exactly the same. He carried me inside, dumping me on the living room floor. The attic trap door hung open like a threat. He retrieved tools from the garage and began installing new locks, reinforced hinges, a steel plate over the opening. My prison was being upgraded. He worked methodically, ignoring my presence. When finished, he hauled me upstairs. The attic had changed. Steel mesh covered the ventilation grate. The roof showed fresh repairs where I'd tried breaking through. A chemical toilet sat in one corner, cases of water bottles in another. He'd prepared for a long imprisonment. The trap door slammed shut with finality. Multiple locks clicked into place. Through the mesh-covered grate, I watched him padlock a chain around the exterior. Even if I somehow picked the locks from inside, the chain would hold. He'd learned from my previous attempts. Days passed in that reinforced prison. He brought food twice daily, never speaking. I studied every inch of my upgraded cage, looking for weaknesses. The steel mesh was welded professionally. The roof repairs included metal sheeting under new tiles. Even the walls had been reinforced with plywood. Isolation gnawed at my sanity. No books, no distractions, just endless hours alone with my thoughts. I exercised to maintain strength, doing push-ups and core work. Without my prosthetic, lower body exercises were limited. I had to stay ready for any opportunity. Dad's routine became predictable again. Morning delivery at 7, evening at 6. He'd unlock the trap door, set down supplies, and leave without entering. Talk about taking grounded to a whole new level. This dad just turned the attic into maximum security prison while his kids watching from the floor like it's some twisted home improvement show. Always careful, never giving me an opening. But I noticed something. He'd started drinking heavily again. His movements grew sloppier, timing less precise. One morning he stumbled while climbing the stairs, nearly dropping the water bottles. His hands shook as he worked the locks. The smell of alcohol wafted through the opening. His addiction was escalating, making him vulnerable. I just had to wait for the right moment. That moment came sooner than expected. He arrived for evening delivery clearly intoxicated, fumbling with keys. The trap door swung open, and he started down the stairs instead of just setting supplies at the top. His balance wavered on the 3rd step. I moved fast, grabbing his ankle as he passed. He tumbled forward, crashing into boxes. His head struck Mom's old sewing machine with a dull thud. He lay still, breathing, but unconscious. My hands searched his pockets, finding keys, phone, and wallet. Freedom was within reach, but I couldn't climb those stairs. Without my prosthetic, the steep angle was impossible. I tried pulling myself up using arm strength alone, but kept sliding back. Dad groaned, starting to stir. Panic flooded through me. If he woke fully, my chance would vanish. I dragged myself to his unconscious form and used his belt to secure his hands. His phone had no password. Typical dad carelessness. I scrolled through contacts, looking for anyone who might help. Most names were drinking buddies or work colleagues. Then I found Benji, repair shop, the prosthetics technician who'd fixed my leg. Worth a shot. I typed quickly, explaining I was trapped and needed help. Added the address and hit send. Then I dialed 911, but hesitated. Police meant questions, investigations, foster care. I needed a different plan. Dad's eyes fluttered open as I searched for options.